A lot of people have an irrational fear of anarchy. Why? Because practically their understanding of what is anarchy is propaganda pushed to them by the authoritarian system on earth, inclusive of entertainment, is totally and fully violent. So, do we need anarchy? Is there a good form or a good option of anarchy? And where does it come from? Who perpetrates it? Are we born with anarchy within us? Let's look at this issue and consider the number of issues that are buried within this topic: free will or predetermination, the fact that you didn't choose to be born or you chose to be born, and the universal authoritarian dictatorship that we can see encroaching on human freedom and free will, and also the idea perpetrated of a force that is anarchical and that causes anarchy. But we need to think about it and consider that there are two definitions of anarchy. That there is anarchy that is the best, but the other one is a no-go area. And there is also the idea of originators of type 1 anarchy in the real world, and the spiritual anarchy, which is your best step forward. So let's look at the type 1 anarchy. We go to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, where we learn that this type of anarchy is the state of disorder due to absence or non-recognition of authority or other controlling systems. The similar words for that is lawlessness, absence of government, nihilism, or mobocracy, or revolution. But we have to think a little bit deeper here, because this definition might be wrong. So let's look at the words that we have used as Bantus in terms of anarchy. In Swahili, machafuko; in Igbo is ogba, agara, ferekano, ispitipiti, isiyaluyalu, nyonga. That's anarchy. But that's the first definition. We've got another anarchy, type 2 anarchy, that we want to define here. It's uhuru, rusununguko, inkululeko, ominira, nchukeko, umtendezo. This is the type of anarchy that we want to consider, because it is deeper in our growth and also enhances us. Commonly promoted anarchy serves the system, not you. They define it as generally a political theory advocating the abolition of hierarchical government and the organization of society on a voluntary cooperative basis without recourse to force or compulsion. And then they twist that and they manipulate that in subtlety, because the anarchy in the real world is completely violent. The other definition of anarchy, which makes the real anarchy palatable to us, comes from the understanding of the word anarchy from the Latin and from the origins of English. An, which means without or lack of; akos, a powerful word that we shall now develop into the totality of this video, means ruler or authority. The archons, that's where the word archons come from akos, rulers. Zimzangara, amazim. We can now define that this type of anarchy is also inclusive of violence, but there is something that we have to know from the tales of spiritual hierarchy and the origins from the waters of new or potentialities, where we can now detect the proper definition of the original anarchy. So, which is the best anarchy to use? It is the fourth one. Spiritual anarchy is your best bet, because it is the spiritualization or spiritualizing of anarchism and making spiritual practices anarchistic. How? By understanding that you are without ruler, without archons overshadowing your life. No rulers, no masters. This type of masters that we are indicating here. Now we go to Africa, Northeast Africa, in a place known as Hamid, where we find these Gnostics that taught the archons did not create us, and that they are identical with the Anunnaki and the modern greys or aliens, but that they are caught up, these entities, in their own delusion, and at the end of their delusion they think that they are our creators, and therefore they want to force their will over us. So these are the originators of type 1 anarchy in the real world. Again, we go to the Emerald Tablets of Djikahuti, where we read in Emerald Tablet 8 a section that teaches us a lot about these creators and originators of anarchy, the type 1 that we do not desire. Far in the past, before Atlantis existed, men they were who delved into darkness using dark magic, calling up beings from the deep, great deep below us, second dimension. That's why they don't have a soul. Formless were they, of another vibration, so frequency, existing unseen by the children of earthmen, by humans. Only through blood could they have been formed, blood sacrifices. Only through men could they live in the world. So it is us that sustains these people, these entities. So we go to the Nag Hammadi, a place in Northeast Africa again, where we find a library, the Nag Hammadi library, and from it we understand that these archons or rulers are psycho-spiritual parasites or viruses. They infect us. So you need spiritual anarchy in you, which is your best bet. Nigel Kenna, an author, wrote that these archons can insinuate other alien intelligence and they push them into our minds and suggest them into our minds, but they cannot take control of our minds violently, because you resist. You have got your own free will that we indicated there. You are not determined to accept it. However, if we let ourselves fall under their spell, so they use spells, chants, illusions, then they can entirely come and take over your mind. And once they take over your mind, you abdicate your own consciousness and give them your own consciousness, and then they dominate your life. So these are so thieves. You need to adopt your natural spiritual hierarchy, your natural spiritual anarchy, which is your best bet against soul thieves and those that hijack your consciousness. We must realize that our authentic minds, our true human potential, in order to see these entities and their actions, we need nehast. We need to wake up. We need to awaken to a higher consciousness, another dimension, because these are from a lower dimension. If you are still in the third dimension, they will attack you. Some of them are now already in the fourth dimension. So you need to awaken, so that once you awaken, you challenge these predators. They have got many ways. They try to influence themselves into our lives through politics. They influence the elites, the government itself. Governere from the Latin is to control. And the mens is mind, to control your mind. So these are the entities. They also use the religion, and we will look at it a little bit, because in the Nag Hammadi library, there is an entity called Jehovah there, the traditional Judeo-Christian god or deity, who is depicted as an inferior and ignorant deity and violent and bloodthirsty deity, also known as Yaldabaoth or the Demiurge. The Gnostic text clearly states that Jehovah is the Lord Archon, a reptilian type of alien predator who dominates the hive mentality of the embryonic or grey aliens, the Force. So this is in the Nag Hammadi library. In the testimony of the truth, in Nag Hammadi library, we learn that this entity called itself a jealous God. Where have we heard that before? So does anarchy solve problems? It depends. Because as an individual, you need to have your own anarchy. In other words, a separation and a self-rule and a self-governance other than depending on a spiritual hierarchy. You can do that by expanding your knowledge beyond common religious or political limits. Our book, Free From God, shows you these steps. You need to enhance your own natural ancestral connections and vibrations. You need to explore real anarchy and be free from alien or government policies. Now, since a lot of people have an irrational fear of anarchy, you must remember that the kingdom of heaven is within you. Therefore, if you fear anarchy, it means a coup d'etat or a revolution has been done against you. How is it easy? Because you do not know yourself. And therefore, when you do not know yourself, you become a child of somebody. I have heard people saying, I'm a child of Jehovah. That's straightforward. You have been hijacked, you have gone, you are gone. These archons are capable of duplicating reality. That's one more activity that they are capable of. They are also very good with technology. And their technology is very false. Their technology may work in the physical sense, but it's a trap. It's a bridge that they want to use. And for you not to be ruled by the archons, you must know the way out of the traps and to genuinely remain human, not artificial, natural, not artificial, in both your mind, your spirit, and your deeds. You also need to resist any technology that implies that it will make advantages into your brain, into your heart, and into your consciousness, because you have to ignore consciousness transfer technology by any means, because all these are coming through artificial intelligence. You have to effectively practice the ability to raise your level of consciousness to higher consciousnesses. You have to raise it by vibrating yourself. But you know, when you vibrate, you might vibrate into anarchy. And once you start to have borders, once you start to have limits, once you start to have a belonging to somebody other than a belonging to yourself, anarchy, a different type, has come in, either through violence, through disorder, through chaos, through promise of utopia. You need to understand that anarchy means N without archon, without master, without the ruler, without the archons, the absence of physical slavery, the freedom for your soul, even beyond death. A lot of people think that anarchy is violent. They are correct, because that's the anarchy that has been artificially created by the systems in the world. But actual anarchy is organic, connects to the ancestors and connects to the real creator. Anarchy, the one type 2 is the best, that will lead you to understand the unknowable creator, that will lead you to draw near the chasm, and that will lead you to be connected to all that which is organic and natural and that which is yours. This is the anarchy that will lift you up from the lower vibrations or lower dimensions of being earthy and being dominated by those that are below the dimensions, and rise up right up to the chasm. Thank you very much for listening to up to this point. Remember, spiritual anarchy and physical anarchy is twofold. You need to select the one that separates you from the rulers of any. Do not be a child of somebody, but of yourself. Your manager to be Priest Rabbi LM Jakanja says subscribe to our channel, Amiti Buru Ethics YouTube channel. Like our videos, comment and share, and let us meet again in future for more interesting topics and discussions. Your comments are vital. Your suggestions are critical. Your sharing of these videos are as important as listening to them. Thank you very much. Have a great day.